Hey guys, Aaron here with another fountain pen video. I hope everyone's doing well. And I've got the mystery pen here. Most of you, if you watched the last video, already knew what the pen probably was. Not a very hard mystery pen. So this one is a Wingsung 698. This is a really cool Chinese fountain pen. One of the first Chinese fountain pens that I have actually purchased, that I own. And I've put a lot of ink through this pen. I've actually had it now for, I think a little over, well, definitely had it over a year. I would say probably close to about a year and a half. And the pen has performed very well. I've put so many different types of inks in it, shimmering inks, light colored inks, different ink brands, and it's performed well with all the different types of inks I've put in it. Now this is a fully transparent pen, as you can tell. It does have gold accents. Now you can get this pen in other finishes, so it doesn't just come in just this finish, so to speak. You can get it with different metal accents. You can even get it in a darker color, as well as some other colors online through eBay, for instance. Now this pen, you would be more than likely paying around $15, give or take a couple dollars here and there, depending upon which one you choose. I do know I've seen some auctions that have the pen available in an extra fine, a fine, and I think a medium nib as well. At least I've seen that on eBay. This pen that I have here in front of you is a fine nib, and I'll show you the nib here in a moment. So real quick, getting into the parts of the pen, we'll start up at the top as usual. So your cap finial here is just a simple gold texturing to it. I like the touch. The gold goes straight into the clip. The clip definitely is a larger clip, somewhat stiff, but it works. It does its job. You'll notice that the clip says Lucky on it. Kind of flip that around so you can see it a little bit better. And then you'll also notice that, like a lot of demonstrator pens or transparent pens, you've got this darker or kind of charcoal looking cap liner in there. Now you can still very easily see the nib, so you know, obviously I think it would be cool if it was clear, but it is a darker material, which to me is fine. Working our way down the cap, you'll see that you've got a fat cap band here, again gold. You see 698 for the model number, and then on the back, Wing S for Wingsung. And then we'll work our way down the barrel. Now you've got a very large ink capacity with this being a piston filler. And you know, it's really cool because obviously you can kind of see your ink move around inside of there, which for a lot of people is very aesthetically pleasing. And then we move back down to the piston mechanism. Now, one cool thing about this pen that I like is the fact that your piston turning knob up over here, you actually have to pull up in order to engage it. So I think that's something that's really nice. So if you happen to have this in a shirt pocket or in a pocket in general, you're not necessarily gonna have to worry about that piston knob turning at all and possibly expelling ink. Or if you're trying to post the pen, you're not generally gonna have to worry about that happening either in that sense as well. So that's one nice thing that a really nice design that I like about this. Taking off the cap takes about one full turn, and then it reveals that section and nib. Now again, it's fully transparent. I think another really cool thing about this pen is that your feed here is fully transparent. So if you're somebody that likes to use really cool vibrant inks or just different colored inks, your feed is going to mimic that color or be that color of your ink. So again, I think it's a really cool touch. I like the fact that they used a transparent feed versus just your standard black feed. Now you'll notice this feed looks very similar to a pilot feed, which is something you see on a lot of Wingsung pens. The nib just simply says Wings or Wing S, super quality. and then has F for fine. Now this is a gold-plated nib, and you'll notice for me taking this nib out several times, in and out, I've worn off some of the gold plating on the nib. Now, for me, that's not a problem. I know I could probably easily replace this nib with another one, but it doesn't really, for me, impact the overall feel or aesthetics of the pen. You know, the cap, one thing I like is, I mean, the section, while it does have a step down here, to me, the threads are not, you know, really extremely sharp, and the section is somewhat elongated. So, you know, if you do hold it a little bit farther back, it shouldn't be very discomforting as far as for longer writing sessions. I can't speak today. And then at the end of the section here, it does flare out a little bit just for a little bit of filling, and that way you know where you're at in relation to the nib. Now, you'll notice another thing here. You've got this gold metal piece here, and then you'll notice inside of the pen you've got your rubber piece there. My brain is just not working today. I apologize. Now, that's pretty much the parts of the pen. You know, if I was to compare this pen to some other demonstrator type pens, I would say a good comparison would be a TWSBI Eco. And, you know, I would say for price point wise, you know, an Eco, you're going to look at paying around $30 for that. At least that's what I paid for mine. And I would say price point wise, which pen do I use the most? I actually go to this one the most. And I paid around about $15, a little over $15 for this pen. I really don't have a lot of criticisms or critiques about this pen. I enjoy using it. The nib works very well. It's cool to look at. I don't have my favorite ink in here, but it was an ink that I'm just using. And I thought it would be kind of cool to see what the feed looked like with this ink, because it is a much, definitely not a very dark ink. It's very light. And the only critique, if any, that I think would be make the pen even cooler is if it had a transparent piston mechanism. But, you know, again, the Eco doesn't even have that. And I'll actually bring an Eco in here so you guys can kind of see it side by side. So I've popped this Eco in just to kind of give an idea. And bear in mind, I enjoy my TWSBI Eco very much. So it is, again, another very nice pen. But, you know, to give some perspective, I mean, this one, you can tell has had lots of use just looking at it. Now, it does have a nice ink capacity as far as the TWSBI goes. But, I mean, one thing that, you know, from an aesthetic viewpoint that I really like better on this one is that you have that clear feed versus you have a black feed on the TWSBI Eco. Both are very good writers. The Eco is definitely no exception as far as the quality, as far as how it writes and performs. This is an extra fine nib, so it is actually a little bit finer than my Wing Sung 698 that you see up at the top. But again, I found myself more and more using the Wing Sung 698. I am going to throw in this, this is an Indian pen that I have, and I'm only throwing it in because it is a piston filler and it is transparent, has similar gold accents, but again, it kind of has that clear piston mechanism here. I think that would be, honestly, the only thing if I was to pinpoint something that I would change on the Wing Sung. Again, all in all, it's a pen that I really don't have any criticisms of. I really enjoy using it. It has been inked up a lot over the last year and a half plus, and it will probably continue to be inked up past that. So up next, guys, I'm going to do a writing sample, and then I will reveal my next mystery pen after that. So stay tuned. All right, guys, I am back, and I was going to show you, you can post this pen. It posts right on the metal piece there. Now, it it does make for an elongated pen. You know, it definitely makes for an elongated pen. Now if you have super large hands and you want to post this, then hey, go ahead. For me, it writes perfectly fine unposted. It fits in my hand well, and I definitely don't mind it. But you can post it, and I think again that's another nice thing because of this piston turning knob, that it's not going to move if you post the pen. So I think that's another nice thing about the pen. Now as far as the writing sample goes, again, this is the Wing Sung .698. The ink that I'm using is a diamine ink, and I want to say it is amber. I'm pretty sure it is amber. Definitely a very light ink, but I think an interesting ink. Now you'll notice you definitely you'll get some feedback with this pen, but it's not an uncomfortable amount of feedback as it is. I mean, it is a fine nib and it does write a very fine line. But one thing I can give this pen a lot of credit for is that I've put a lot of different inks in this and it's performed every time, where I've had other pens that are much more expensive and have not. It's not a pen that you're going to get really any line variation from, so you know, don't expect to have anything crazy from there. You know, as far as wetness, not the best ink to use for this, but it definitely puts out ink. It works well. It's consistent as far as writing with it. It's a very consistent writer. So I enjoy this pen a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review of this one. Again, it's a very nice pen. I really enjoy it. I would definitely recommend, if you have not gotten one, to go get one. So I have the next mystery pen I'm going to reveal real quick. This one might not be too hard. Now there is something special about this pen, so even if you think you know what the pen is, there might be there's definitely something about it that I will reveal in the next video. But the pen is right here. I'm not going to reveal the back of it because that will kind of give it away. So you guys probably, it's not a really hard one. I'll admit that. It's not a very hard one, but there is something really cool about this pen that I will be excited to reveal in the next video. I promise I will do everything I can to not take more than 2 weeks to make a video again. Guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time, everyone be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.